Cool
I'm done.
beans.
Now I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
To our learning segment, which hopefully I brought in the other dream machine.
And it says Dreamy Quilts.
Oh, and
Does Eddie have it on here over here?
I've got my
Dreamy Quilts, look at that. Oh, it just changed, Eddie. Now it says embroidery.
Wow, wow. Okay, so here's a quandary. And this is a quandary even if I'm bringing my quilting to you.
A quandary?
A quandary.
As in a question?
A decision making. Okay, here is a block that was meant to go into a quilt that for reasons that you can probably tell, I'm not putting it in the quilt.
I can't tell. I like it. What's wrong with it?
I have too much puckering.
Oh. Only in your world.
Yeah.
Looks good to me.
No, I've since solved that. So
okay.
But I said, oh my gosh.
It's really cute.
It would make a gorgeous pillow.
Oh, yes, it would. Make a pillow, little throw pillow.
And I can play with my machine.
Throw pillow's just getting away.
How would you quilt this?
I wouldn't.
Picture there's a block in the quilt like this. How would you quilt it?
Well, I can do what they call a mask
Eddie,
and sew around it.
can you do it top down? How would you quilt that, people?
No, you can mask it on a machine and just quilt around the whole thing. Mm-hmm. The reason you wouldn't want to do that... You
wouldn't do that.
I could.
You could?
I could, but it...
But you don't.
I don't because it's a lot of extra work.
And you don't like to do it.
I mean, I will for a price.
Oh, you will?
Everything can be bought for a price.
Okay.
But I will do it. I've done it for people, but if your entire quilt is nothing but this, I tend not to. But if it's just a couple sections, yeah, we can mask it and call it a day.
Okay.
But keep in mind, I don't know if you're going to talk about this, but I'll talk about it.
No, I want you go for it.
The problem with masking this, if you do, is you're just going to go around the edges. Now, if you ever look at a package of batting, there's a number on that package of batting that says how close you can quilt this and how close the farthest apart you can quilt the material. That's important to pay attention to because if you don't, like cotton I think is like 8 inches. Mm-hmm. So if your quilting is more than
18 inches.
Yeah,
square.
if your quilting is more than 8 inches apart, it's going to shred. So that would be something I would take into consideration. If you're just going to mass this out, that's fine. But you're more than 8 inches from there to there, and for cotton batting, you're going to get shredded batting in the middle there. So that would be a concern on something like that. That's what I would. That's how I would talk you out of masking. Because long term you're going to run into shredding and sagging because the batting's you quilted too far apart on the batting. Polyester I think is 10 inches. You can get a little bit further apart with poly and some blends, but you're not going to get more than 10 inches. I've not seen one that'll let you do more than 10 inches and not shred.
But if you have a brother embroidery machine, you have another option.
You're going to just stitch it again?
No. Brent, you're going to show people, you're going to remind people how easy it is to scan.
Oh yeah, custom quilting is the other.
I
think we did this once with Lynn, and it was a lot of fun.
We are going to.
Yeah, me and Lynn Pickle.
I am purposely going to have you scan in a section that's blank and a section that's. Now, I am not going to actually let him stitch on this, people. And I probably don't need to explain that. I'm going to let him design it, but you are not. There's no thread in this machine, okay? He can't ruin it on me.
I wouldn't ruin it on you. I mean...
my first thought, Brent, was I'm going to stipple around this and just go in and use my eraser to erase.
Your awesome new marker?
No. My eraser in my design center so I don't stipple, but like I want to stipple a little in the trees for the very reason you said so.
Yeah.
Right? That was one of my thoughts. Another thought was to bring in a custom design up here and a custom design out here and then actually do some blind swirly swirls.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to show us how to do it.
Okay.
Do you like that, guys?
Yeah.
How would you do it? Oh, the code. You have to buy it. Did you find out how much it costs?
Oh, I forgot to look on.
You have to buy it, Victoria.
I will look that up.
But good question. I did some research. She's talking about the quilt design program from Brother. It actually came out a year ago. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to cover that. It came out a year ago, and it hasn't taken off. They've got a big push on it right now, which is why we're hearing about it again.
Well, you know why they push like software like that?
I have to be honest with you. I am an EQ person, electric quilt
Yeah.
lover, and if I were interested in buying a quilting design piece of software, I would strongly urge you to look at Electric Quilt first before you buy anything.
They're one of the original ones, and they've done a really nice job of staying on top of it.
Key issues. One, there's a ton of support out there for it.
You
A
got the things done
ton.
up?
All over the place. Both learning and packages to add on to it. We covered one of the packages once, the Dear Jane blocks.
Yeah.
It's very well supported. So I would ask you to check out EQ if you're very interested. What I saw on the Brother software was it's just not an industry. The industry Quilt Pro, okay. The industry just hasn't really bought it, and I'm trying to be nice because you're a Brother dealer, but
Well,
I don't
you can
see
be honest.
I don't see it outdoing the base that Electric Quilt has. Electric Quilt is very well established and very well liked by a lot of people. So the support group is there, and their ability to keep up with the software and add-ins all the time is tremendous. So I actually feel, oh, you do? I actually feel like I would recommend you shop Electric Quilt. Now, Quilt Pro, Victoria, I can't speak to Quilt Pro because I ended up with Electric Quilt and have loved it. So
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm going to stay there.
One of the things about retail that you run into, and this is probably why Brother's pushing it right now, is my suspicion is with the supply chain issues, they're...
Jean, you're going to crosshatch over the embroidery? She was going to, Jean, I have not finished that one, over the river, good for you. She's saying she's going to crosshatch over the embroidery. I can't do that.
All right, well, let's show them how it's done real quick.
That's interesting. Good. Well, watch this, Jean.
Oh, well, hold on. I thought I had that set up before Eddie. Oh, there we go. How's that look? How's that look? Good enough? Good enough. All right, so we're going to go into my design center. Yay! And then in my design center, all I'm going to do is come up here and hit scan. And I'm going to hit OK. And now it's just going to scan what's in my hoop.
Now, on the Luminaire, you'll get choices
And
of
now make
scanning.
sure when you're doing this, you're not putting your hands underneath the throat
Yeah,
to hold stuff down, because then you'll have pictures of your hand in front of everything.
which doesn't work. On the Luminaire, you're going to see 3 choices of scanning.
Yeah.
You're going to pick the first one.
Yeah, and I always start with scan on the Dream Machine, and the Luminaire same thing, because you can always go through and turn the scan into whatever the other option was later. The getting the scan into the system is the first thing. Okay. So it's recognizing, yay! So now you can see on here I have the what's in my hoop scanned, and you'll notice it's chopped off a little there because that's beyond the size. If I had a 9.5 by 14, that scan would go all the way.
Only
Yeah,
by
we
8
have
by 8.
yeah, 8 by 8. Now it's kind of this is the important thing here is this button. You see how it makes it darker? So this
That's
faded
your background.
your background. So we don't. So I like to run it about here so I can see. Oh, come on! Don't tell me it just froze on me again. There we go.
No,
So I have
no,
fat
it's a
fingers.
different machine.
Yeah. So I usually like to leave it about here because that way I can see what I'm going to draw on there. So now one of the
We have lots of options.
yeah, we did a whole class on this. We should do that class again because we actually get into all this stuff. So one of the things here is no, we're just going to do a line, and we're
Slow
going to
down. Explain what you're doing.
Okay.
I'm doing a line.
So this up here is going to be line. So if we're drawing, this here is to paint stuff. We don't want to paint things. We want to set boundaries of what we're going to do.
The first little section, it's got a little square
Right
around
there?
it, has to do with lines. The second set has to do with shapes.
Yeah, so
That's how I like to
Yeah,
think
this
of
is
it.
line and this is area is how I like to think of it.
And
this
the
is going to be the
below
line.
is on
These are
works
tools.
for both.
These are your
Works
your
for
tools.
both.
Line and area. So when you think in terms of that, this is going to take care of stuff in between the lines. This is going to make the lines. We want to make the lines first, so we have something to bound the area, as it were. So for and I'm just gonna
Yep.
do this real quick, and
There's
it's
a
gonna
stylus on the side.
be.
if you
Yeah,
want
I'm
it.
just gonna fat finger it.
Okay.
I'm gonna zoom in because that's what I
I
like to
can't
do.
find my favorite stylus. When I
And so I'm gonna
packed
start with these
everything,
mountains
I
right
can't
here.
Find it, but I will.
So these are mountains here. I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm gonna draw the mountain.
No, I don't want to quilt right on the mountain.
Well,
I would do something in the mountain.
I'm gonna do something in the mountain. So I went around the
Okay.
mountain. So I
All right.
used my line to create a line. Then I'm gonna come over here to my area, and I'm going to choose a fill. Let's say, for example, we want to put some bricks in the mountain. We could do bricks.
We could.
But I don't think
I
people
wouldn't.
want to do bricks. So we could do like this little shattered glass thing would be kind of cool in the mountain. Or no?
Just do it.
Okay.
I don't
So I'm
like
gonna hit-
any of those ideas.
I'm going to hit okay, and I'm going to do it in red.
I
just so
want
it
you to
shows-
show a squirrely pew in the next one.
Okay, so then
That's
I'm
how
going
I
to hit select.
would-
Okay,
Quilt it.
and I've got that, and I'm going to hit okay, and then I'm just going to do this fill function and fill in the mountain. So now the mountain is going to be quilted with that.
Right.
But I'm zoomed in at 400%, so let me zoom out so you can kind of see what that's going to look like.
Well, you can change all that in the next screen. Can you show making a squirrely cue on maybe the snowbank below it?
Like down up here? Or
No,
here?
below it.
You want to do like a
Yeah.
little line?
Yeah, you know, in the middle of it. Just because my purpose at this point isn't to take away from the embroidery, it's to quilt.
Yeah, well this would quilt in. That's why I did the fill. To fill into the mountain. So we're going to do like a little...
Just so, yeah.
Okay. And we're going to go, yay! Add
Yeah.
some texture to the snow. We'll do
Yeah.
some texture up here.
Yeah, that's it. Now I can either use a invisible thread or a colored thread.
If you're doing this,
Anchored it down.
keep in mind that this sets your line properties.
Mm-hmm.
So that line I just laid down is going to be a satin
Yeah,
stitch.
you need to
probably
change
don't
it
want
to-
to do that. You
no.
probably want to either
Single.
do a single, or this one comes out nice too. It's one of my favorites if I'm going to do like a quilting line. Does like
Oh,
a
that
triple
is a
stitch.
nice. That is a
It's
nice
a nice
one.
triple stitch.
Yeah.
It kind of has like a handwork look to it.
Yeah, that is a nice
And
one.
so, well, let me just change that. So since we're
So
doing that.
I can literally go in and customize it. But now, Brent, little area by little area.
Yeah.
And truthfully, when you go over to the design center, over to the embroidery section, it's all set up to go. You're not relining anything.
Yeah, you don't want to
You
take this out
fly
of the
right
hoop.
over
Yeah.
to embroidery, and it's going to stitch that.
Now,
What
what's
you
in-
see is what you get.
Now, what's important is I'm going to come back down here and watch as I fade that out, see what's left for lines. That's your
that's what's
actual
gonna
sewing.
quilt.
That's
Yep.
the sewing that's going to happen.
Yep.
And as long as we don't take this out of the hoop, that will stitch onto that exactly where we just put it.
Right. Now, can you do me a favor?
Mhm.
Can you undo it and bring in a rectangle or square that covers some of the sky and the folks down below?
Yeah. Oh, I'll just leave that stuff on there and bring in a rectangle. How's that sound?
Okay.
So we're going to come in here to shapes, and then we're going to do
Yep.
a rectangle, hit OK.
This is that second group of four.
Yep. So I got
Make
a
it,
square.
make it bigger.
What, we want it bigger?
Yeah, so,
So I'm gonna
use
go
the
to
size
size.
button. We're going to make
So
it
we're gonna-
bigger.
Now, the minute we stop working on it, it flattens and you won't be able to come back to this. So make sure
Yeah,
you get it to
there
the
you
size
go.
you want it.
That's good.
That's as big as it'll go in
That's
that hoop.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
We're going to take that.
We hit
And,
okay.
yeah, and now I want you to fill it with stippling.
Okay.
So
So
if he's
we're
using
I'm going to
his
come over here
the
and then I'm going
second paint bucket,
to fill it with just a regular stipple.
regular
I'm
stipple,
going to hit. Oh, I'm going to make this one blue. Blue.
and later on we can change the stippling size and all that stuff. But I just want him to show you it filled.
Yep.
Yeah. Now that would be not how I want it before I stitched it out. But here's what's cool. Now take your eraser
Yeah.
and erase where you don't want stippling.
So we don't want stippling down here.
And this will work on any of your fill
Yeah,
patterns.
that's actually a good idea. This is an easy way to do it.
See, don't you like my idea?
Yeah.
This will work on any of your fill patterns.
Yeah,
Now in
so-
the luminaire, oh my goodness, you have a lot of fill
Oh
patterns.
yeah, I have a lot more options on the
Also,
Luminaire.
after doing this, we will have the opportunity to fine tune the size of the stippling and decide if we want to close off the line or not.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, if you do this on the Dream Machine, it's not going to be nearly as nice as the Luminaire for fine-tuning sizes
Yeah,
because you're not going to actually see the changes. You're just going to have to guess. Whereas the Luminaire will display the changes.
yeah. But is that cool?
And so then.
And then after I erased all that, if I wanted to draw in a few lines, I could.
Yeah.
And if I didn't want to, I wouldn't have to. And now I haven't gone over my embroidery. So
Oh.
Jean, I don't know if that'll make you can put your crosshatch
Now,
in and then clean
keep
up your
now,
beautiful embroidery
Keep
work.
in mind, though, one of the things you have to keep in mind, this is only a section of your table runner. So if you
Yeah.
do this,
Yeah,
lining this up to the next block.
is a piece of cake because I'm going to scan it in and I'm going to see the quilting I've already done.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's something to keep in mind, that you have to do this in chunks.
You do have to do it in chunks.
So I'm just going to go
Yes.
next so you can kind of see the idea here. So
Now,
see
you wanna
down
show
here,
how to change
yeah,
the
see down
size?
here changes your sizing and whatnot. Like I said, you're not going to see on a Dream Machine. It's not going to show me the changes, but this spacing, if
See,
I
that's
space
why
it,
I love my luminaire.
so I'm going to hit
It's
set,
live.
and that didn't change anything on a Luminaire. That would show the change.
Yeah, yeah. You have to just go to embroidery
Yeah.
to see the changes.
Yeah, so if I
And then you
preview-
write them down so you don't forget them.
And then I go to
But
preview. And
It was
then
just something I was thinking about when I
so
started to do this.
that's
'cause
exactly what it's going to look like stitched out.
Yeah, and I may decide I want stippling to carry down in here. I may not. I
Yep.
may want just lines in it. But I just thought it was a really cool,
That's-
easy way to say, no, stay away from this, please.
Yep, you can in the design center. You got a lot of options in there. That was just a kind of a quick way to do it, and experiment with it, because you can try everything you want. When you get to preview mode, if you don't like the way that looks, because if you look at the screen here,
Yeah.
this is exactly what
See,
it's going
that
to
looks
look.
really good, though.
That's exactly what it's going to look like when we stitch it out. And so if you don't
That
like
you're
that,
in embroidery mode now, right?
yes, if I hit set,
Set. If you do set.
I
set.
can still return at this point, but I will hit
Go
set.
hit set.
Okay.
See, this is really
see,
what's going to happen.
And that's what it's going to look like, because we don't have the image behind it anymore. That's what it's going to look like.
That's what's really going to stitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I thought it was kind of cool.
So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
More things to do with your machine.
Yep. So, I guess
Maybe
that does
I'll-
it for today, right?
Maybe I'll make a pillow yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stitch it out because that'll get me in trouble.
No, you're not allowed to.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks
We're
for joining
actually
us for
finishing
another.
up early. Good. Well, it's a good time.
Yeah, I think it's a good time. I think, and
It
if this works for you, we might have to.
We'll have a power after.
Yeah, we might. This might be the new normal, but we'll keep you posted.
I don't like the 8:30s. We
Yeah.
already talked about that.
Oh, look at that! We got a bot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join us again next week. I don't know if it's going to be at 8:30 or at noon. We'll let you
Did
know.
the erasing erase the red on the mountain?
Yes.
Yes.
He erased
Yes.
the red on the mountain.
Yes, when you do the
he
erase,
did.
yes. So you would want to go back and do the mountain after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah,
I,
you'd wanna-
I
you'd
would
wanna-
I would have done my stippling, erasing, and then gone in and added
fine-tuning,
my
yep.
fine tuning.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Good question, Jean.
Yep.
That's how I would do it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you have any
All
other
right.
questions, feel free to call, drop us a line, shoot us an email, and join us here next week.
And
Yeah.
thank you to our new subs. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah,
400,
and
yay!
look forward to some more tapes on some of the classes.
Yes, and we are going to try and get
Frosty.
Frosty.
Zoom in.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
Yeah.
The link that you can if you can get on.
Yeah, so you can get some
and
help
see
for
the
it. Yeah, we're going to
class.
try and do
Yeah.
some more of that. Yep. So thanks for watching. Remember, sew on and be excellent to each other.
Toodles.